like how we can set up the Azure cloud environment, and then how you can install the virtual machines in the Azure cloud. So in this session we're going to see how you can build your own lab on your laptop or on your own personal computer, so without using any internet or without using any the Azure cloud or any other cloud. So for that, so let's see the demonstration how you can do that. Can you confirm again? My voice and video are visible, right? The
Yeah, yeah,
screen
it's
share.
visible.
Okay, thank
Yeah, it's audible.
you. Yeah. So let me do a little bit close this. Let me play again. So how we can do this? Okay. So for installing the VMware workstation, you have to download this software. So VMware workstation full. So that's an executable file, and just ensure that before you install you need to see that what is your operating system, Windows 10, and how much RAM you are having. So just check how much RAM you are having and that information on your computer. So right click on that VMware workstation and run it as in full. So we have to start the installation. So when you start the installation, it will be a wizard base. So wizard base means it is like it will give the options like so you have to select the options and you have to give the next window. I'm sorry, just there was some. Okay, just accept it and say on next and go with the default option. You don't have to change anything. So when you click, the installation will start. Okay, for downloading this particular executable file or application, you have to open the Google. You try to do the VMware workstation. So it is an the free edition, it is of free of cost. It doesn't need any license for installing. So I think this one doesn't work. So we have to go for another page where you can download the first page. So it's going to open that vmware.com site. So if you scroll down, there is something called VMware Workstation Pro for PC. So click on download. So that's a Broadcom. It is redirecting to Broadcom.com. The reason is that so Broadcom has take over that VMware company. So right now, the VMware company has been sold to Broadcom. So that's why it is redirecting to Broadcom. So now to download that, you have to register. For registering, you can also give your Gmail ID. So you don't have to give the official email ID. I mean, it doesn't need to be a business email ID. So it is finished. So if you wanted to open and see that how it looks like, you have to search for, give the keyword, some word like the VMware workstation. So when you search that and the application will open. So this application window is called as a VMware workstation. So when you install that vmware workstation, so there are two other applications also installed, like you have an virtual network editor and workstation player. So all that will be installed. So this is only for info. You don't need to be working on this. Mostly you'll be working on the workstation only. So you can close that, and so this is how the window will look like. In the next lab demo, we'll see how you can create a virtual machine using the VMware workstation. Close this one. Okay, let's see how you can create a virtual machine in Windows virtual machine using the this one, VMware. Yeah. So I already have created earlier one. So I'll show you for creating another one. So you can close everything in the file menu. If you go to the file in the menu bar, we have a new virtual machine. So select the custom. So click on next. Hardware compatibility next. So select that option. I will install the operating system later. And here I want to install Windows Server 2022. Select that option and use some user friendly name. So the name can be anything. And next is you have to give the location where that virtual machine files can be stored. So give some location where you have some good space. So on my computer I have only one drive, so I'm giving it on the C drive only. Okay, select the BIOS option, go for next, and processors depending on your laptop. Like if your laptop is a 4-core, give the only 2 cores like that. RAM, I have a good RAM, 64 GB RAM, so I'm giving 16 GB RAM for this virtual machine. Use the bridge network, and what are the options I use? Try to use the same options in your lab so that it won't create. It will be easily deployed. And give the size 100 GB. Next and next and finish. So now you can say that the virtual machine is created. 2022 virtual machine. Again go to the right click and settings. Yeah, go to the DVD. Now I'm giving the ISO image. So here I'm selecting Windows 2022 image, ISO image, right? And click on power on. So now what is happening? So for installing Windows 2022 operating system, you have to download the ISO image also, and you have to keep that ready on your laptop. Okay, now you can see that there is a wizard started. So I'm going with the default option, install now. It is same like the way you do on your, like for example, if you have experience on installing the like Windows 7 or Windows 10 operating system on your computer, the same way. So you have to select the desktop experience for GUI. Click on next. So I'm selecting the standard evaluation version and desktop, which means GUI. So accept the EULA, install. So try to follow the same steps like I did in this video so that you can easily install on your laptop workstation. I mean on the VMware workstation you can easily install the like Windows VM. Okay, I have placed the softwares on my all the ISO images on one particular location. Okay, so when you install it, these are the files it is creating. So don't worry about that, but just if you follow these steps, you can easily deploy your virtual machines and you can set up your own lab. And RAM I have given 16 GB. On your personal computer, you might not be having that much resources. What you can do is that, for example, if you have an 8 GB RAM, give half of that, like 4 GB for one virtual machine. And CPUs, if you have 4 CPUs, I mean core, you have to see how many cores you have. And if you have 4, and give half of that, like 2 cores you can give. So depending on the resource available, you try to give half or something less than half like that. Because if you give all the resources, then your computer might be slow. It might become slow. Okay, so the installation is completed. So for administrator, I have to give the password. And you have to remember the password, right? If you forgot the password, no, then again you have to reinstall. Or else for resetting the password, it is a complicated process. So always try to note it down somewhere, the administrator password. Okay, now your Windows 2022 server is ready. At the bottom you see that VMware tools it is asking to install the VMware tools, right? So you can install the VMware tools also. So if you have to, see that if you have to go inside that, you have to double click. If you want to navigate inside the virtual machine, you have to double click. So you can see that it is asking press Ctrl Alt Delete to unlock. At the top there is a VM, and then go for Ctrl Alt Delete. Then it will take you inside the virtual machine. So give the same password that you have given provided earlier, and then it will allow you to log in into that virtual machine. So now we are inside the virtual machine. Okay, so we're going to do the same steps, right? I told you while we are deploying the Azure virtual machine, what we have to do, we have to do some changes. Like we have to make the IP address static, and also we have to ensure that this one, the firewall is off. See that if this machine can communicate with another virtual machine which is already deployed. So I have deployed two virtual machines, so 2029, and in this video I have deployed 2022. So in the server manager, if you go to the tools section, uh, so here you can find firewall and security option, right? So in the firewall and security option, so you have to go to that inbound rules. The inbound rule, then you have a something. If you see that ICMP, so you can enable that option. ICMP is an ping option. So ICMP is a protocol for ping. We are allowing the ping to work. And do the same thing on the other computer. So what I'm trying to do here is, this is an alternative to disable the firewall, right? So one option is for the lab environment, you can disable the firewall completely, or another option is you have to allow the rules, so like the way I'm doing over here. So so this is the easy, I mean, so this somehow it is an so you have to go for a number of steps here, but this is the recommended approach. So instead of disabling the complete firewall, so you can allow the inbound rules. So that will be a recommended approach in case of your like corporate environment. So now you can see that ping is working. So to allow the ping, we have to go to the firewall settings, and then you have to allow the ICMP. You have to enable that ICMP. So when you do that, then the ping will work. So when the ping is working, it means that so these computers are in the network. Start. My best starts. Okay, you can also do from your own personal computer. Try to ping that the virtual machine IP. Now you can see that even from your own laptop or computer, you are able to ping it. Right, from your computer you are able to ping to the other two machines. So now after deploying the virtual machines, what we are trying to do is we are testing whether these virtual machines can connect to each other, right? Okay, I did not show you how you can configure the static IP, so I will show you that in the next session. Okay, so now let's see how we can configure the static IP. So inside the virtual machine, so open the command prompt. So you have to go inside the virtual machine, open the command prompt and run the IP config. So find out the IP address. Yeah, search for the network management. If you scroll down, network and sharing center. So Ethernet, and now you can see that IP address and the DHCP server, DNS and every information, right? So you have to note down that IP address, right? 10.168.0.108. So click on the properties and select that IPv4, IP Internet Protocol version 4. And here you have to select that for creating a static IP, you have to manually enter the IP address, right? So whatever the details you have captured earlier on the previous window, use the same details like 192.168.0, or else you can also create one some IP more than 200 like that. So actually the earlier the IP was 108, but I wanted to ensure that all the IPs will be more than 200. So I have given 201. So I mean whatever the IP you select, you have to provide here. Like this will be the static IP. Even after reboot, the IP will remain same. You don't have to give the same IP that was before. So or else you can also give the same IP. It doesn't matter. But I wanted to ensure that this address is easily remembered. So I have given the 201. So which is easy to remember. Yeah, this is how you can create a static IP. You can again, what you have to do, you have to disable and enable it. It is just like restarting the network services. Again run the IP config. Now you can see that IP address is 201. Yeah, so now I can ping the IP address from my personal computer. Okay, so when I say static IP, what actually it means that even after reboot, the IP address should be remain same. That means the IP address should not change, right? So I want to verify that. For verifying, I have rebooted it. After rebooting, I want to see whether that IP address will remain same or whether the IP address is going to change. By default in VMware, the virtual machines will use the DHCP. DHCP is nothing but the dynamic IPs. But now in our lab we need a static IP. So that's why I have configured a static IP. And now you can see after reboot the IP address is same. Yeah, that complete how you can configure the static IP. So okay, so in the next the next video is about the installation of the VMware tools. Let's see that too. Okay, now I'm inside the virtual machine. So here we'll see how we can install the VMware tools, right? Inside the virtual machines, you can see that there is a DVD drive, right? So that DVD drive is for the VMware tools. So why we need a VMware tool is, uh, so for example, if you want to copy any files inside the virtual machine or you wanted to move the mouse cursor inside the virtual machine, for all that reasons you need a VMware tools. So once you have installed the VMs, install the VMware tools also, like the way I am doing here. Okay, even on another virtual machines also do the same. So you have to go inside the virtual machine and then on the D drive you'll find the VMware tools. So you have to install that. So it will ask you to reboot, restart the virtual machine. So say yes for it. Okay, so now we are back after reboot. The server is up now. So VM Control Alt Delete in the menu bar, that will give you the prompt to enter the password. So enter the details, the password that you have created. So now we are inside the virtual machine. So let us see what will be the benefit of installing the VMware tool. So the benefit is that if you open the notepad and if you wanted to copy some data, like on my personal computer I have a test file created, so I can copy that inside the virtual machine. So the copying the file, copying the data, that will be easy. So it will not be facing any issues while copying the files or copying the content like that. So that is one of the advantage of VMware tools. Okay, so okay, let's also see there is one more thing, installing the Ubuntu. After this we'll wind up. Okay, so now we have seen the till now we have seen the Windows, installing the Windows VM. We'll also see the how we can install the Ubuntu virtual machine. Again, go to the file, new virtual machine, click on next, custom, next, again next. I will install the operating system later inside the Linux. Yeah, the version here is Ubuntu because I have an the Linux flavor of that is download is Ubuntu. Click on next and give the location or where you want to save the files, right? The location where you want to save the virtual machine files. So that location should not have any files inside it. So create a new folder better with the name of the virtual machine. So yeah, so the operating system. So say OK, click next, and number of processors. So for example, if you have a 4 core, so give 1 or 2 like that. The RAM, so again you have to ensure that you have to, depending on the resource available, give the RAM. The remaining option like same as the before, like what you created for the Windows virtual machine. That's it. So we have created a virtual machine, Ubuntu virtual machine, and right click settings. So now we have to give the ISO location. Yeah. So see that how much resources you have provided. You can also modify the resources later. So CD or DVD, browse for that ISO location. I mean the Ubuntu software ISO where you have downloaded. I have kept on my desktop software folder. So Ubuntu server, that is an ISO image. Select that, click OK, and then power on the virtual machine. So up to now what we are doing is then we are building the infra. So even if you are not following or if you are not able to understand, don't worry. This is not done as a part of the backup admin, but you should have a knowledge. So what will be happen? How the OS team is going to provision you the virtual machine. All the details you should be having, but it is not mandatory for a backup admin to know all these things. But if you want to do a practice on your own laptop or computer, better you have to go through these steps. I mean, you can follow whatever this video and install the VMware on your own computer. So now you can see that the installation process started. So it is installing the Ubuntu operating system on the virtual machine. So this is going to take some time. So I have paused the video. Usually it takes around 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, it's going to ask some. It is going to ask you some options. So language selection. So now here your mouse might not work, but you have to use your keyboard. So you can use the tab option. When I click the tab, it is taking me to the continue without updating. Yeah. So when you click on tab on your keyboard, then if you want to select the option, hit enter. And I want to continue without networking. So whatever the options I give, you can follow the same options for installing on your lab environment. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, tell me. Okay, might be Amarnath is away. Hello, Amarnath, can you go on mute?
Hello. Wait.
Okay, now he's on mute.
Okay, carry on.
Okay. Okay, we'll continue it. So we're about to complete. So yeah, here you have to create the user. Okay. Yeah. Just see this. So these options you have to select. What are the options I selected? Don't worry, even if you don't know it. So try to go through these steps. You can follow these steps. Whatever I do here. So give some username. We are creating username. I'm creating some username with my name and password. It should be like some special characters combination. And server name you have to give like the host name that you wanted to enter. And it's better you install the OpenSSH. So if you wanted to select that, you have to hit enter on the mouse cursor. Okay, that's it. So once you provide that option and hit enter, the installation will complete. So it might take some time, but you can see that. So installation complete. It will not be that much fast because this is a recorded demo. So I have paused and then resumed it. So I made that video short. So on the last, finally, you have to go for reboot. You can see the reboot option. You have to use the down arrow. You can check the logs and then finally you can go for reboot. So once you reboot, then you'll get a login prompt. And if you want, you can also verify that your DVD is not connected. So after you reboot, there should not be any DVD image. Otherwise, it might go on loop. So I can see that you got a login prompt here. Okay, so I'll stop for now. So in the next session, we'll see actual the core commvault. So this is all about setting up the lab environment. So we'll see tomorrow session on the virtual machine how you can. Uh, so we'll be following first on the Azure cloud. So on the Azure cloud, on the virtual machine, right? How we can install the ComSer package. So that will be the first class. So from tomorrow's class on, it's completely about the commvault backup tool. So mostly we'll be seeing the how we are going to operate or how we are going to use the commvault backup tool for the administration like backups and restore purpose. So your actual backup tool training will be starting tomorrow. So till now, so what we've seen like how we can create a virtual machine so that you can install the the ComSer package, media agent package, and client package. So I'll stop the recording.